Hey, real estate agents, welcome back. Today's topic is how do we stay positive in this real estate market right now, right? Because a lot of us are struggling financially, struggling with our sales, and no surprise, right? Half the number of units disappeared in the market. It's just gone. And we're wondering when the next sale is going to come from. And unfortunately, when we're struggling in our business life, it might flow, and oftentimes does flow into the other parts of our lives. Our health, might stop working out, our relationships, stop communicating in a positive way with our loved ones, and our spirituality. And so today I'm going to share 3 simple tips on how to stay positive in any market, let alone this market. And here's a bonus one. I am actually going to share the secret of life. My kids, my youngest one, 10 years old, has known this since 5 years old. I'm sharing it with you today. My name is Guillermo Salas. I've been in real estate for over a decade, and I'm going to share every single tip, trick, and system and technique and process I've ever created to run multiple businesses, leverage, and passive incomes here on this channel. So please subscribe, please comment below. It keeps me juiced. I've seen all those comments there and gets me sort of excited to do even more content and share everything that I've experienced in my life with you. All right, let's jump into it. Tip number 1 is be very aware of your internal self-talk. The thing is, let's sort of dig in a little bit on the science of this, right? The science part of it is our mind is sort of made up of 2 parts, the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious part is the one that we're very aware of. That's the part that says, hey, I've got an appointment at 10 a.m. and I'm going to show up for that listed appointment exactly at 10 a.m. But the more powerful part of the brain and the mind is the subconscious mind. And the thing about the subconscious mind is like everything enters the subconscious mind as a truth. It doesn't know the difference between a lie and a truth. So everything enters your subconscious mind as a truth. And then what we do is we go out in the world to find evidence of the thing that came into our mind and that we made up in the first place. Make sense? Nope, doesn't, but that's the way human beings act. An example of that is, hey, somebody's saying that they're shy, right? Somebody might have told them early on in their life that they're shy, and now that becomes their truth. And then they go out in the world to find evidence to support that truth. And, maybe they go to a party and they'll sit there in the corner all day long, the whole entire party, not talk to anybody. And at the end of the night, see, I'm shy. I didn't meet anybody. It's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. And the thing about the mind, it's super, super powerful, right? You've probably heard of examples where people go to a faith healer or drink holy water and they're healed of really serious illnesses, cancer, whatever, you name it. And the thing is we know that the laying of the hands and the water, you sort of study its chemical composition, no different than any other water. It's not that's healing. It's the belief that it will is what heals. And so if the mind is so powerful that it can do something so positive as heal, a serious illness, the opposite is also true, right? It can create some negative things. And so we really need to be intentional about our internal conversations. And so I've been talking about truths for a while. Where do you think those truths come from? Well, those truths come from our thoughts, our conversations. And the math and science on this is we're having 600 to 800 conversations every minute of every waking hour during the day. And most of them are here internally in our mind, not external. We're not actually verbalizing them. They're internal conversations. And so we'll have these internal conversations and then they're completely made up. Things like, I'm not a good enough salesperson. I don't have the right contacts. I don't know what to do. I don't come from a family with a bunch of money, so I can't sell $10 million in real estate. These are all made up conversations. And again, they're internal most of the time until they're made up until the point in time they enter your subconscious. Then they become true. They become your truth. And there's a whole scientific term called the reticular activated system. Go Google it. That's the part of the brain that says, all right, well, I'm going to take this conversation and start finding evidence out there in the world. And you've experienced it, right? Maybe you've thought about buying a new car and I don't know, maybe it's a Range Rover. And all of a sudden you never noticed a Range Rover any time in your life, but now you see them everywhere. Or maybe you're a woman and got pregnant and having your first baby and now you notice pregnant women all over the place. Well, they didn't just start getting pregnant just because you got pregnant, right? They existed out there the whole time. You just weren't paying attention to it. And so all this is sort of say, Guillermo, what's this have to do with real estate? Here's the key. And here is what I promise you, the secret of life. Life is a conversation. It's all made up. Not what I call it is, not the thing that exists, like the sky is blue, the sun is hot. That is not made up. The meaning that we give to those things is completely made up. So the secret of life, recap, life is a conversation. It's all made up. We need to make it up in a way that empowers us. And that means take us towards our goals in a positive frame, right? So have our feelings be on a higher plane, be happy, be glad, be energized, right? And so let's draw an example here. Life is a conversation, it's all made up. So we need to make it up in a way that empowers us. Let's use an example of somebody maybe canceled your listing agreement. You had a listing and didn't sell, and that person comes to you and they cancel it, right? The thing that's not made up is that the contract was canceled, right? However, the meaning we can draw from that is completely made up and is in our control. That's the good news, right? You could have somebody make it up in a negative way, right? And say, oh, listing contract got canceled. That person sucks. I'll never work with anybody like that again. In fact, I'm done with real estate. I'm not going to prospect for the next 90 days. Well, that's one meaning you can give that. Or same is listing contracts terminated. Like, all right, let me analyze what happened there. Oh, well, I didn't communicate every week. Didn't give them feedback and they canceled on me. Or I didn't price it well, right? So let me go out there and find a pricing method that will allow me to price it better next time so I actually get it sold. By the way, got a video on that. Or, you know what? I got to communicate better. So every Tuesday, close of business, I'm going to give them a report for everything that happened the week before. Same is two different meanings. So that's what I mean by just being really intentional about what your internal talk is. Because a lot of us are, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't have the right contacts. I'm not the right color. I've heard that. I've actually heard somebody tell me, hey, open houses only work for women. I'm like, you're driving me nuts, man. That's completely made up. And it's an internal conversation that's taking you away from your goals. You know, what probably happened is he did an open house, didn't do it effectively, didn't have anything come out of it, went to his office the next day, heard somebody who happened to be a woman say, yeah, I had an open house, I had 20 people show up, I got 5 clients out of it. And now that became his internal truth. And he goes out in the world to operate in accordance with that, meaning that, hey, his sales suffer because he wouldn't do any more open houses. So tip number 1, again, is just be really intentional on your self-talk, understand what are the internal conversations you're having and switch them, all right? You can't switch the thing that happened, had a serious illness happened, right? History is full of people who had serious illnesses, serious accidents, and there's people who just made it impact their lives and just became hermits and never did anything yet. And there's other people who got on stages and inspired others people to take on a different way of life. Same is two different meanings. One that took you towards your goals, one took you away. So that's tip number 1. Watch your self-talk, your internal talk, and make sure that you're having a conversation that's going to empower you and take you towards your goal, right? Because it's always up to us. We have a choice. Okay, tip number 2 is focus on your wins. A lot of us, especially in this world of social media, just focus on what we don't have, right? And it's so easy to fall in that pattern. We go on whatever, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever it is, and we just see everybody putting out their best version of themselves, and we're living in what I call the gap. Like, oh, I wish I had that. How come that person's accomplishing this? I'm smarter, better, just as qualified, and they're selling more real estate than I am, right? So we don't want to be living in the gap. We want to be focused on our wins, and we all have wins, right? I got the parking spot right in front of the store. Take it. We want to be focused on our wins. Like, even if they're super, super small, like, hey, I walked by and that person smiled at me, or I got a parking spot right in front of the store. Whatever it is, we're living a very fortunate life. And there are people in the world less fortunate than us. And so focus on the wins. I play this game when I'm driving and I need to elevate my feelings and get it to the higher level where I'm operating more positively and moving towards my goals. It's every red light, I sit there and I just say out loud something that I'm grateful for. Grateful for my kids, grateful for my wife, grateful for my dog, right? Grateful for the fact that it's sunny outside. Whatever it is, celebrate the smallest wins, right? We want to reverse the other side, reverse the equation. Put a parade on for every little win, as small as they are, and be ho-hum about the negative stuff. So that is a super, super important technique and tool to use. The other one's like, I have a music list called Happy Thoughts. Now, I won't tell you what songs on there. Some of them are a little bit embarrassing, but literally just create a playlist that you can't help but smile. And that's what it works for me. Whenever I'm in sort of a not so optimal mood, I just put on that playlist and I just can't help but smile. There's also certain memories. You know, I was the last male solace in my family. And so I felt a lot of pressure to keep that name going. And when I got the news that I was going to have a son, that's a huge moment for me, right? So whenever I need to go back to something that's going to get me and uplift me and get me into higher level of accomplishment and feelings, I got a memory bank of memories that I go to. It's stuff like that. You know, they call it the pass or the recital and they play the piano. whatever it is, you have your inspiration, you know what it is, go find that and get into the higher plane. And last practice point here on Focus on Wins is a gratitude list. It's been a thing that people talk about but don't do, right? Here's the thing. A lot of people quit because they start writing it and they find out that they're writing the same things over and over. That's okay. Those are the things you're most grateful for. And so, yeah, have a journal on the side of your nightstand in the beginning of the day, things that you're looking forward to. At the end of your day, things that went well for you, whether it's business or personal. And if the journal thing's not for you, how about just, for instance, one of the practices that I do is around dinner. Every dinner we go around and we have it as a family, another practice point, and we go around the table and it's like, hey, one great thing that went well for you. And we go around the table and we celebrate each other's wins and we lift each other up. From a business perspective, I start every single meeting with a positive focus. Give me one win, personal and business. So those are absolutely things that can help you elevate sort of your positive mindset in a market like this. And tip number 3, I want to give an assist to Brendan Richard. I watched a video a few weeks ago. He really laid something out for me that had never occurred to me, but is absolutely true. And he noted that the last 72 hours of whatever you did is a huge impact. It has a lot of relevance in terms of how you're feeling right now. So that means not only from a business perspective, but let's think about it, how well you slept the last 72 hours, what you ate the last 72 hours, maybe how often you worked out the last 72 hours. So if you're not feeling good right now, it's directly impacted by what you did in the last 72 hours. Not feeling good? Yeah, maybe you ate 5 pizzas right in the last 72 hours. Not the thing you want to do. Or, got 3 hours of sleep. Or, you didn't work out. You decided like, hey, I'm just going to skip the gym this week. That impacts. So what that allows you to do is become very intentional, like, hey, and disciplined. Like, hey, if the last 72 hours is going to have a huge direct correlation with how I'm operating presently, then you're going to be really guarded in how you protect what you do over those last 72 hours. Great practice point. It's really gotten me not only to, 1, be very aware of it, but 2, make sure that I keep the promise to myself. When I don't want to go to gym, I go to gym because I know 72 hours later, I'm not going to show up in my best pace. And there you go. 3 simple tips on how to remain positive in a real estate market like this. And it's not easy, right? I'm not saying that it's easy. It only becomes easy with practice. And when something negative happens, we're not zombies. The first instinct and the first initial thing will be a negative feeling. However, the question is, how long do we stay on that channel? It's up to you. And that's the good news, right? We have the power to then change it off that channel. And my goal for you and my hope for you is, maybe in the past something negative happens and we might stay there negatively for a couple months. But now sort of with this awareness, maybe that month or months becomes a month. That month becomes a week. That week becomes a few days. Those days become just a few hours, and hours become minutes. And it's just going to come, it's going to require some practice over and over until we become confident unconsciously. And that's the goal. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, my calendar link is down below. If you want to dig into this topic even more deeply, just schedule a 20-30 minute session with me, and I'm happy to go through it with you and help you elevate your business. Until next time, go out there and cause and create miracles. Have a great day.